Every single American icon that you know about has been here for decades now. But among all the muscle cars to exist, there is one of them that the world forgot. A car that had a massive potential but was never allowed to shine. Everybody knows about the Mustang, the Corvette, the Camaro, the Charger, and their huge success, whether it's in homeland America or anywhere else in the world. But nearly no one knows this underdog muscle car that General Motors abandoned forever. In the last video, we saw how GM quickly became the biggest monopoly in the automotive industry. But among the different makes that GM owned, there's this little manufacturer by the name of Pontiac. Around the 50s, Pontiac was still building up its reputation. Right behind Oldsmobile, releasing models similar to what the other GM divisions were releasing, like the Pontiac Torpedo and the Pontiac Streamliner. But few years later, the models became much more interesting, with the Catalina, the Star Chief, and even the Bonneville in 1959. Once in the 60s, Pontiac found itself in the biggest growth it had ever experienced, releasing very advanced technology within the Pontiac Tempest, and finally, the timeless Pontiac GTO in 1963, unlocking so many awards like Motor Trend's Car of the Year for many years in a row. But behind the glorious models that were showcased in Pontiac dealerships, there was a literal war going on behind the scenes. This is when the entire American automotive industry took a serious turn. Chevrolet, which was GM's flagship brand, was leading a war in 1965, year when the first ever Mustang was released. The Mustang had delivered a huge and successful entrance, which directly impacted Chevrolet's Corvette. The hype shifted, and Ford, the underdog small independent car maker, had once again won a battle against the gigantic General Motors. Not even 2 years later, in '66, the Mustang crushed all records and sold 1 million examples. History was made, and Ford had, whether willingly or not, waged war against Chevy. But you're probably wondering, where does Pontiac play a role in this war? Well, no one was impacted from this war as much as Pontiac. If you don't want to miss out on anything cars, make sure to subscribe. It is specifically in this context that Pontiac built what was supposed to become the world's most famous muscle car. Pontiac wasn't really into the war between Chevy and Ford, it was evolving in its own path. And knowing that Pontiac was in a successful run during the 60s, they had built, designed and prepared the release of the best car they had ever worked on yet, the Pontiac Banshee. It looks quite similar to the Corvette C2, but under its body it was hiding a beast. Faster, lighter, bolder than the Corvette, the Banshee was a two-seater with a fiberglass body, which ran off of a 6.5-litre V8. The chassis had also gone through extensive development in order to make the car's handling as good as it could get back then. Once the car was ready for production, everything went south. Among the designers of the Pontiac Banshee was John DeLorean, famous for making the DMC-12. But when DeLorean and the directors at Pontiac decided to present the Banshee to GM's board of directors, they all refused together, without even a second look at what Pontiac had brought to the table. How could the prototype that had the most potential to hit a home run was instantly refused without a second thought? Well, the issue wasn't in the Banshee in itself, but in the timing of the Banshee. General Motors had to face Chevrolet's growing problem and fix it as soon as possible. Even though this was actually the best time to present a completely new and better model to the public, GM's president decided to shut down any potential threat to Corvette's success, even if it came from within GM. To this day, it is still debated whether it was a good decision or not, especially if the Banshee could have been the absolute dominating muscle car in America's history. Don't forget to subscribe for anything cars and business.